Built gets into the Kentucky Derby. River Thames is out. What does this all mean? Welcome to All Horse Racing All the Time. I'm Alan, your host, where we bring you fresh new horse racing information every single day. Here we are 10 days out from the Kentucky Derby draw on April 26th, and Kentucky Derby qualifiers, they have been dropping like flies. So what happens is the horses that are just outside the cutoff with the next most points, they get in. And now the latest, River Thames, Todd Pletcher train. You're out of here. Yeah, the connections decided to point River Thames instead to the Preakness. Give him a little bit more rest. I think it's a good move. He was a nice horse, developing horse, but not quite fast enough to really win the Derby. I don't think it was a realistic goal at all, considering the other entries. So who knows? Maybe in the Preakness after the Derby, usually a lot of horses that run in the Derby and some really good ones will drop out and bypass the Preakness, look for something else. So that might open the door, give River Thames a better chance to improve his status, breeding rights, everything. If he wins a Triple Crown race and goes in there, definitely, will be part of the Preakness picture. So River Thames is out. But what about Built? Built gets in. Now this horse, I'm excited about it. I think it improves the Kentucky Derby. I think it makes it a little bit more challenging to handicap because even though he seemed to run some really good races, do his damage, at least in the win column as a 2-year-old, he has some good races in there. And by the third graph numbers, he definitely has a couple that fits this Kentucky Derby. And if he gets a good draw, he has the breeding, curling, he can get the distance, has some good speed, positional speed, and he can go early if he wants to. I think that might be suicide, but he definitely fits the picture, and it'll make it very interesting. He was one of the sexy horses early on when the futures opened up. So let's see what happens with him. But there's more implications there, and I want to take a look at this here and show you what I'm talking about. As far as the Derby picture goes, I'm going to bring it up right now. Okay, this is the Kentucky Derby picture. What's going on here? Built, okay, he gets in there. We get the other ones out of there. Getaway car bypassed Bob Baffert. And I could see they would have been in there, would have got in there with the dropouts, but Bob already has enough early speed signed on between Citizen Bull, Medocket Road, probably one of the speeds of the speed. Rodriguez, he shows you he hasn't always run to the front, but this one wired the field in the wood. So he got enough speeds in there. He didn't want a getaway car, possibly make it worse. All the horses from Baffert, they have the same ownership. It's amazing. Great crew. But what does this mean? I think besides Built getting in there and making it a more interesting Derby and a potential longer shot winner, that adds flavor, some juice to the Kentucky Derby now, getting Built in there. A lot of people that have been betting him in the future, Kentucky Derby future pools, they're thrilled to get him back in there into the mix. But I think the big one here now is this. What's the implication here? What this does here, it adds the next one on the bubble, Neaquist, Safi Joseph Jr., sitting out there now, 21. Okay, so this one has blistering early speed, and he can carry the speed. He has shown that he can hold up and carry the speed, at least get into the money, especially from his last race. If he gets in there, I see this early speeds in the Derby virtually having no shot. It's going to come down to the post position. If Neaquist gets in there, as it is, it's going to be tough. But watch out for number 21, this Safi Joseph Jr. If he gets into this mix, this is going to be one barn burner. I think that might even help a horse like Built. Okay, so keep an eye on that. We still have time up into the Derby. A lot of 10 days until the draw, and then another week until the Derby. Anyone else drops out, which they usually do, watch for one of these others to get in there. Neaquist, definitely will, raise a lot of eyebrows if he's in there because he's going to get around. What if he gets a really inside post position and just happens to go and wire the field? Not impossible, depending on what happens with the post. But the other one to talk about is Baeza sitting there. He needs basically 1, 2, 3 more scratches, I think. And, that's a nice horse. Has a lot of fans for Sheriffs. They're looking at a lot of people. He has a lot of fans. They want him in there. Read the Judgment. If that one gets in, I don't see that one as having a shot. I'm not going to go into it now. That's for another time. Baeza, nice horse. Do I think he'd win the Derby? No, I don't think he would. But this one has a little bit of speed, does more of his damage stalking. But a lot of people will be raving. He will take some money if he gets in there because he's kind of the big news or the horse everyone is buzzing about. And what I saw from him, he finished second to Journalism in the Santa Anita Derby. But as we know, Journalism backed up a little bit as far as the speed figures go in that race. And Baeza, wasn't beating Journalism, and I don't think he'd beat him next time. And what about Journalism? While we're talking about the Derby for a second, I think this one right now, I think he's a play against, at least for the win spot. Can he win? He certainly can win. But, if he gets a bad post or if he has a little trouble, he's going to have to work out a trip depending on his post. And we have some dynamite closers in the Derby to keep an eye on. I think this might be the year for the closer, with one of the big 3 closers winning, either Sandman or Sandman Sovereignty. I mean, these are horses that will love the 1.25 miles by the breeding, by they have been running. And Luxor Cafe, I believe that one has about the best shot of the closers. Watch his replays, the Japanese, and they've been knocking on the door. Look at Forever Young came so close. They've been knocking on the door. And this one looks like the horse that can do it. He closes like a freight train. So a lot of things to do as far as the Kentucky Derby goes. And I'm going to be coming up with a show that I think you're going to find very interesting very soon, probably this week, a Kentucky Derby fair odds show, and the way I'm going to present that and who I like. It's going to be something that's a little bit different. And I think you're going to get a big kick out of it, especially before the Kentucky Derby draw. So my Kentucky Derby fair odds show and how I come up with these odds and how I handicap the race. Watch out for that. So what do you think? Bill, does he have a chance in the Kentucky Derby? What do you think of the Kentucky Derby field now with these changes? What do you think happens if Nequist gets in there or Baeza? It's going to take him a little bit more help. Are they a factor? Leave your comments down below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a terrific day, evening, whenever you're watching this. If you're playing, best of luck and bring it home. Win big, and may the horse be with you.